Yo, 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 what's up, Camelback fam? Welcome to another episode of Camelback's Humble and Hungry live series, where we sit down with entrepreneurs building revolutionary ventures in education and conscious technology. I am your host, Lex Lindsay, Senior Marketing and Communications Associate at Camelback Ventures. And joining me today is my homie, Wes Ma, co-founder and CEO of HealthOpX. Wes, what's good, man? What's good? How have you been?
But I've been great, loving the support from the Camelback fam and everything that everybody does, on and off working hours. So I'm really feeling that love and support and excited to kick this off for
Yes,
sure.
sir. Yes, sir. We're so glad to have you here with us today. I like to start these conversations just talking about entrepreneurship and grounding us in what impactful entrepreneurship is. So, to kick us off in a few sentences, what does impactful entrepreneurship mean to you? And why do you feel like social impact entrepreneurship specifically is so important?
Yeah, absolutely. So, impactful entrepreneurship to me means being able to create the world that we want to live in. So, why that's so important is because there's existing systems in place that aren't favorable to people that you care about or that we love, and you really have the chance to disrupt that.
Right on, man. Right on. I love it. All right, we'll go ahead and get into the interview. I did a quick introduction of you, but I would love for you to share just a little bit more about yourself and what HealthOpX is and the work that you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit about myself. So I'm Wesley Mom, the CEO of HealthOpX. So I'm originally from the Metro Detroit area. And what our startup does is we help create partnerships between nonprofits and healthcare organizations to improve the health of underserved communities. So we also do some technological capacity building because a lot of the nonprofits we work with are ready to take on those partnerships, a lot of them using pen and paper. And we want to support everybody in that partnership because everybody's equally important.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, we're gonna dig a little bit more into what HealthOpX does and kind of the why behind, why you started this venture. So, um, I know a little bit about your story and kind of your background, but if you could just share with the audience, like what experiences led you to becoming an entrepreneur and led to you founding HealthOpX?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I would say like it wasn't just me. So I just want to make that clear too. So it's like me and my co-founders, we started this company back in 2018 at Michigan State University, but we didn't really do anything with it until around 2020, unfortunately, right before the pandemic. But me and my co-founders we're second generation Americans. We had to help our parents navigate the healthcare system because their English wasn't that great. And we noticed how it was the community organizations, much like the ones that Camelback funds, that helped us growing up and gave us guidance. So we thought that the most sustainable way of improving, communities like ours was to partner the community organizations with the healthcare organization.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love it, man. And like thinking about that, I know there's challenges. Like you had mentioned earlier, it's like some of these
Yeah.
nonprofit organizations, like resources are a big deal, a
Mhm.
big challenge for nonprofit orgs. And so,
Right. Right.
for you guys starting out, I'm curious, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced, especially as a BIPOC founder, and how did you
Yeah.
overcome those challenges, especially kind of early on?
Right, absolutely, man. I would say that fundraising was very hard, and so was pricing. And I say that because it was really difficult for me to ask for money in any kind of way. Because growing up, it was like not the thing to do, and navigating those conversations was always really awkward for me, and it always made me feel very like tense. Whereas if I were like a white male, and most of investors and business executives are white males, you might be more comfortable talking to them and vice versa because maybe they remind you like of your dad or your friend's dad, and how I overcame that was just by mentorship and just by being very knowledgeable. And with that came confidence and with that came better results. So
Yeah. No, I appreciate you raising that because I think that's something that, a lot of entrepreneurs, especially when coming from communities of color or, undervalued communities, asking for resources is kind of a tough thing. Like we have traumas and shame or whatever around, a
Hmm.
lot of feelings around finances, depending on where we've come from with it and, the upbringing around finances. And then, versus the counterparts who are like, they understand fully this is a part of business and those
Right.
conversations are fluid, like they come up with it. And so it's not a big deal. So I appreciate you raising that and kind of sharing how, you overcame and had kind of, I imagine that it's still kind of a challenge, but you get some funding. Um, so in that vein, what advice would you share with your younger self about becoming a founder?
Yeah. So I would definitely say focus on sustainability. It's a marathon, not a race. And even if you have a plan that just gets pushed back a year or so, don't give into the pressure of those around you just because you'll end up losing time and money, more so than what you would have gone through if you just stuck with the plan and you really just got to trust yourself. Like you did the research, you talked to the right people, and just go at your own pace. Because at the end of the day, like if you're the focal point of the startup, everything lies with you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Any advice that you would give to folks in the fundraising journey? Just some insights that you had.
Man, so just really like see everything as a learning opportunity, I would say. And I would say like the people that you're talking to as investors that might not necessarily give money, that's still an opportunity to kind of map out that persona and be like, okay, when would this person have given money? Or like, how do I approach people that are ready now? Not everything has to be seen as a loss. And I think in that way, you can keep on moving forward and you don't really get discouraged because you feel like you're always getting closer to the goalpost, even if you don't know how far away it is. Just that feeling of progress will really help with sustainability.
Oh yeah. No, man, I appreciate that just like that nod to it's not a no, it's a not yet, or it's
Hmm.
not a loss, it's a lesson, taking every opportunity, even if it doesn't go the way that you want it to, just taking it for what it is and trying to pull some lessons to make yourself better and ready for the next time around. That's dope.
Yeah.
So you are a Camelback fellow. Shout out, shout out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got to like meet you and actually kind of watch the fellowship journey go through and all of the growth that happened. But I would love for you to share just a little bit more about that journey and how the Camelback Fellowship really supported you and the
Yeah.
growth of Health OpX.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say like first and foremost, my cohort members have been extremely supportive. Like we always try to help each other out. People in my cohort, including me, have met up with others multiple times in person, and we have an active group chat together. Whether it's like memes or like pictures of us getting together, it's really just like a safe space for people that just want to make a positive impact, and it's not predatory in any way. And I would say that that has really helped like mentally and also like has created like a way for us to kind of improve and work towards each other's weaknesses because we can be completely honest with each other. So I would also say too that the expert bench has been extremely helpful. The staff is super responsive. I'll just text people randomly, not even business related, because we just been able to bond on that level. Whether it's like you or Salam or Danielle, whoever, so yeah, I think that's been really valuable for me.
Man, I love to hear that. We hear a lot about, and we talk a lot about at Camelback, just like the community that gets built. And you guys as cohorts specifically, like being able to watch that. It was the first time that I got to, be in person with a Camelback
Yeah,
Fellowship
yeah,
cohort, and like it was really special to see that bond created, even from the very beginning. At
yeah,
well, like
yeah,
how tight you guys got in, the moments of vulnerability with each other, and then to see
mhm,
that relationship continue to grow and flourish. And like even outside of the fellowship, I see you guys staying connected, going to visit each other, being in person, and staying
yeah.
connected. And that's like a really special and beautiful thing to witness and be a part of. And I'm glad, I'm proud to have you as part of the Camelback fam. I know the entire crew is, and love to hear from you and love to see the growth that HealthOpX is doing and to just be a part of that journey. So thank you, man. Thanks for letting us be a part of it as well. It's been dope. I want to talk a little bit about legacy. You
Hmm.
mentioned how, the things that you experienced growing up kind of led you
Hmm.
and your co-founders and business partners to founding HealthOpX. And so there is a legacy implanted there. And I'm curious, how do you feel like, what do you hope that your venture leaves behind for the next in line?
Yeah, yeah. So I think definitely in the short term, helping underserved communities gain access to better care. In the middle term, we're really hoping to reduce health disparities, specifically minority health disparities. And in the long term, we want to kind of show data of how addressing systemic change can benefit the economy and lives of people. What we're trying to do is something that's sustainable, and that doesn't come with kind of changing the system in which we operate. So
Awesome, awesome. Can you share like any wins, I guess, that you've had so far with HealthOpX and just like some impact?
yeah, yeah. So definitely. So like we showed up in the Birmingham news very recently, having inked a partnership with Bundles of Hope, who provides diapers, fem products, and more to the community with their 60 plus community partners. Um, and with them, we're kicking off a maternal health initiative. So when people come to get diapers, they're able to get additional healthcare and resources for free or at an appropriate cost. So these are like thousands of people, tens of thousands of people that we have on our database that need help, that are mothers, that are postpartum, that are struggling with social terms of health or looking for economic assistance or what have you, that really affects the lives of them and their children, and their families. So that's what I would say like is our big highlight right now, and we're just trying to expand that by working with some healthcare partners in the Birmingham ecosystem.
Awesome. I love to hear that. We have a couple of fellows that actually came through the fellowship that focus on maternal health and mental wellness, and I think
Yeah.
there's definitely a connection that should be made. At least some
Mhm.
conversations started, and maybe some partnerships can come out of that. So we'll definitely link up. Um,
Absolutely.
aside from Birmingham, like what's next? What's next for Health OpX and West in 2023 and beyond? What else are you guys working on that we should, be keeping an eye out for and looking to support?
Yeah, so I think just looking to support just if there's anybody like healthcare or government or otherwise that kind of wants to create a partnership to create better opportunities and access to care and resources for underserved communities, I'd say definitely reach out to me. And I think the next things to look out for is like we're definitely looking to work with more food and diaper banks, so definitely be on the lookout for that because I think they're a really big focal point in the communities that they operate in. Because they distribute to a wide variety of like churches and different food pantries that do a lot of other stuff for the community too. So I definitely think that's on the horizon, and we're trying to expand into other states as well. So definitely keep up with us. Definitely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll get to that part of how people can stay connected with you, but I just have this one last question that I like to ask. What has been the best piece of advice that you have received on your entrepreneurial journey that you would want to pass on to
Mhm.
founders and entrepreneurs out there, just kind of grinding it out?
Yeah, absolutely. And I talk about this with the cohort members as well. I was blessed enough to be able to have a personal development coach at one point, and I said that I sometimes have trouble shifting gears from like business west to boyfriend west to networking west, etc. And essentially she told me that it's all just you're just using different skills that you've developed over time. And I
Mm,
feel like when I was able to kind of distinguish that, like kind of putting on like a facade or whatever versus activating skills that I've picked over time, it really helped with work-life balance and it really helped with burnout because I was really just myself the whole time. I didn't have to feel like, oh, I need to be this person. It's just like, oh, it's all within me all the time. And I'm just using a skill that I have. So I would say that, and it really helped with confidence as well.
oh man. Yo, that was like personally profound. That was personally profound. like I feel that of like having to shift gears between, work legs versus friend
Yeah,
legs versus sister legs, like all of these
yeah,
different pieces of our identity, but real
yeah.
like shifting that thought of like it's not so much that I'm turning on one switch and turning off another. It's like
Mhm.
I just am this like
Yes.
I'm just me. Like in
Yeah.
these different settings with these different relationships, I'm just engaging a different part of who I am.
Mhm.
Man, oh, that's something to reflect on, y'all. That was the gem. If you didn't catch it, you might have to rewatch this and go back and take some notes there because Wes just dropped the gem for us, y'all. Well, before we close out, man, I would love, love, love for you to share how people can connect with you if they want to learn more about the work that you're doing with
Mhm.
HealthOpX. And if they want to support, if they want to connect with you, if they have questions about the entrepreneurial journey, how can folks plug in?
Yeah, definitely accessible through my email, wesley.ma@healthopx.com. You can go on our websites as well. We have a nonprofit and a for-profit website. We got a LinkedIn. So there's a lot of different ways that you can contact me. I'm always willing to help out entrepreneurs, like no matter what, because a lot of people help me out, on my journey, and I definitely would not be where I am today, for sure. So anytime that you want to reach out as an entrepreneur or someone that's interested in kind of creating partnerships or is looking to expand their access to care for their vulnerable communities, like definitely let me know and I'm available.
Right on, right on. Well, Wes, thank you so much again for joining us today. It's been awesome just to hear more about your story, especially, the things coming up, the advice that you have for entrepreneurs. I know that there's definitely some nuggets in there that people can glean to stay inspired, to stay motivated, and stay in the work. As always, thank you to everybody for joining us today. We appreciate y'all being here.
Mhm.
We'll be back on July 11th for our next Humble and Hungry conversation. So keep an eye out on who that guest is going to be. We'll be dropping it on social. Until then, everybody be well, and we'll catch you next time.